Hey everybody, how y'all feeling? I was just thinking, I'm like, I watched some YouTube videos, right? But then I figured out that I didn't want to watch YouTube videos anymore for right now. I would rather just make one because my thoughts are always raging rampantly. Not really raging, it's like flooding rampantly. But yeah, here we go. You don't know until you know. Or I can rephrase it like this: you do not understand until you know, right? So let's see. I want to make an analogy for y'all. So let's say you get a bike, right? And you do not know how to pedal on the bike, you don't know how to get on the bike, and you don't know how to, what the bike is for, essentially. Because you get the bike and it has two wheels. You're like, okay, two wheels, handlebars. What do we do with this? Right. So you don't really understand what it's for until you get on the bike and actually put your right foot on the right pedal and your left foot on the left pedal. And then you try to balance. And all of a sudden you have this flow, right? You're trying to learn how to keep this bike steady. Okay, we got it steady. Now let's see what happens if we pedal. And then you start pedaling and you're like, you start moving. And like, oh, this is what the bike is for. The bike is made to be ridden to transport you from one place to another place, right? And you come to understand that because you learn how to use the bike. So that's the only way that you was able to understand the bike. Or let's say this: you get a stove, right? And the stove, it has fire coming out when you turn the oven on or bake something, right? And there's nothing on top of the stove. It's just blank with the top part. Now you're gonna have to get some pans. You're gonna have to get some ingredients, and then with those ingredients, you're gonna have to see and try to understand what you can do with the stove that you have. So, just like I mentioned, you have the top of the stove and you have the bottom front of the stove, right? That you open, right? And you're like, both of these parts, what do I use them for? So either you look up a video or someone tells you, or you ask, you're like, hey, what does the top of part of the stove do? And what does the bottom front part of the stove do? Well, the bottom part that you open, the bottom front part that you open, that's where you bake stuff. Like you can bake a cake, you can bake cookies. Those are the honorable mentions that we all pretty much, that some people know about. And the top of the stove is for like scrambled eggs, spaghetti. Let's see if I can get one more. And chicken, of course, you know, my skin, I like chicken. But yeah, you do not know. You do not understand until you know, and you don't know until you know. So yeah, most of the time I learn stuff by listening to people around me and I get a better understanding. And I like languages for the people who are new. Well, you may not know, but I like learning languages. I will not be able to understand what someone else is saying unless I learn the language. And then I'll be able to understand what the person is saying and also know, because knowing and understanding go hand in hand. They're like they're like plus and minus, like positive and negative. You need both of them for a battery. So it's kind of like a battery. I just wanted to give some different analogies for that. So yes, you don't know until you know, and once you know, you'll be able to understand. So if you don't know, you will not be able to understand. So yeah, and a lot of things are going on in America, with the president, the laws are changing and all of that. Nobody has really mentioned that. I know this is taking a full swing into a different subject, but this is what this is for me to just talk about anything, because that's what I do in real life if you ever encounter me. But the laws are being changed. Like there's going to be, what's the first? Immigrants are being deported back to the countries they're from. But what some people don't realize is that the U.S. is built upon immigrants. Like immigrants made America what it is today. Like before what do you call them? The Europeans came to America. America was filled with Native Americans, right? Those are just people with the indigenous people. Those are the first people that were here. Just like everybody was spread apart in a different part of the world. Like you have Asia, Africans, Europeans, South Americans, North Americans, all of that, But yeah, everybody was spread out, and now they're moving not all of them, just some of them, like the ones who aren't documented, are getting moved back. But isn't that something? What do y'all think? Do y'all think that this is gonna change America anyway? But America is always changing. And also 1.2, before the election happened, right? I said this: no matter who wins the election, I know they weren't gonna let a woman be a president. I already said that before the election even happened. I said they're not gonna let this woman win the election because we're not gonna let this country be led by a woman. It may seem a little bit weird, but that's true. That's true. But also, whoever won out of the two, the man and the woman who ran for the election in 2024, when this election happened, it already happened. The future of America was going to change regardless of who won, and you're just seeing a byproduct of that right now. So it's kind of interesting. But I'm just going to sit back and watch, things are changing, I'm Black in America, but I don't mind it. I'm just watching. So as long as things don't get too crazy, I'm set. I lived a good life. I'm living a good life right now, and I'm very thankful for everything. And if you've made it this far, I can talk. I'm gonna be talking about a lot of stuff, but I don't like giving myself I do like foreshadowing from time to time. So I'm gonna say this: the reason why I live such a great life and I'm thankful for all of this is because God is good. But yeah, once again, thank y'all for watching. You all have a great night, great morning, depending on where you are and when you're watching this video. And I will talk to you all next time. Goodbye.